Hello and welcome back, my friends. Hambbage here, and yet another Hardcore Vanilla Let's Play coming right at you. In order, I'm not sure when our little video short will pop up, but it's coming. And whether it's before or after this episode, I hope you guys got a chance to see it. And anybody coming on in, I hope you enjoy our Let's Play. We're going to get back into our world and celebrate it a little bit, but let's take a moment to say read more books. You got it. Huge fan of doing a little reading when not online. So let's get this world pulled back up. Um, we'll get back to business here. So we've been spending a lot of our time down here getting our double spawner ready to go, set to farm up some stuff. And by stuff, of course, I mean experience and loot. But I noticed here when it was too late to do anything about it that we had some copper behind the wall. So one other thing real quick, just while you guys are here, let's get our sounds back up. We had dropped down hostile creatures, pull them back up quite a bit, and blocks. That's what the flowing water is. So you maybe put that right about 70. I think that should be good. We don't want to miss the hostile creatures, certainly. And back to game. All right. So everything's set there. I think we're good to go now. We've got some sorting to do here. Let's see what all we can grab, because now we've kind of got a mess. We've kind of ignored and neglected everything as we went. So let's do arrows, which we're going to get a ton of, and bones, kind of our skeleton gear. And then down below, maybe we'll do bows and equipment, apparel, I guess. And then what do we have here? Grab up the rest of this stuff. More bones. More arrows. The arrows are going to quickly become junk. That was still the old power 2 bow, I think, that we'd seen before. And from here, we also had all this stuff. Will it fit? Of course not. Oh, hey, look at that. All right. Building supplies were here. We can drop. That must have been a squid. Let's just dump off the rest of the block stuff that we're not going to use at all. Pull these back. Now, I don't know that we'll ever fill up here. Not that one yet. Alright, so here, I think we'll eventually scrub these. We'll get a grindstone down here as well, just to clean and trash. We can bring a cactus and, set up a trash bin or do a lava bucket or something like that, whatever we need to keep on top of stuff. But, and zombie flesh. Stone. Zombie flesh can go there because we're going to pile up that as well. Now, I think everything... I don't think we had anything else in these chests, but I just want to check. Those are other mobs from around the area. So, now we've got... one other thing. Let's do this for jumping so we can transit a little quicker. And I know this is a kind of a long run, especially as we hit the deep slate. But as we'd said, longer term, we want to clear all, oops, whoa, all this stuff out as well. Hopefully we don't die here. Those are only one high. But yeah, since this is our primary route now, and we're going to want to go do more exploration in the mine shaft, we know back behind where we set up the furnaces and the crafting table, there's a massive part of this mine we haven't even really looked at yet. So more treasure to be had. Who knows, what kind of other spawners and things to find. Certainly mobs to clear out, torches to place, and all that good stuff. But we've done so much of this, we kind of want to get back to our primary missions of farming, getting cows for our enchanting, all the stuff that's going to make us successful in this world. So there we go. Now we can jump. If we don't run into the wall, jump and move a little quicker through these. And we'll just go drop off these trash type items. There we go. Now worn that down enough to pull it back. So once more up the ladder, I just want to pull out of the chest, get squid. So loud. Just want to pull a little bit more of all this stuff while we've got it here. The things that we want to take back or could use. I'll take the rail. Definitely want the mossy redstone, flint. The blocks we just have so much of. I think we're okay there. But the stone, that shouldn't get lost. Let's put one torch there. I don't know that we're going to need a lot of stone here, but let's go ahead and leave it. And let's take one bucket back with us. I think everything else we're more likely to need here than we will back at base. And all right, we'll wish our little farm setup a fond farewell for the moment. And even in that quick little bit, got plenty of zombies and things ready to go. So if you guys didn't catch, I wasn't really talking the levels there, but I think we picked up 2 or 3 more levels just in the time that we were doing the demo and talking through the build there. So has really good potential and certainly makes, can't beat the proximity of the little skelly farm that we have over next to base for access. But again, those guys aren't getting dropped at all. They have no damage in advance, so we have to just whack it away and away and away at them. But yeah, that's kind of where we stand now. Down here, the next big project, and it's big, will be running a parallel diamond mine exploration run on the torch line over to our right. so that we go back to our hallway, can widen all this out. All of this will eventually become broad avenues. So we'll come back down this one all the way back through to where we connect to our tunnel, and eventually we'll open all that up. But that goes a lot more quickly if we have a nice efficiency pick, all the goodies that go into that. And of course, mending is pretty handy if we can set that up. Now we don't have any cobble overflow at the moment. Why did I end up with tough? Because I thought that was mossy. So this is where we're just dumping some of the building supplies back here. And I think that was everything for down here. We could run the copper through the blast furnaces up here, but I don't think we have enough of it to really worry. Let's add that potato to our stock. We got 10 for when we start up our farms. Our redstone is doing great. Let's hold off one moment. Dump off the rest of this stuff. And that go away. The tough. The lava bucket. Torches back under control. Get quite a surplus of those. This can be merged. We're going to need to make some more picks. But I really wanted to get everything squared away here first so that we can pull down our redstone. Make that into blocks for storage. And just kind of set them up as we go. So we did already make a diamond pick. Now, one thing, just due to all the work we've been doing, we didn't quite make it out of. Love to have held off, but especially for the helmet, I don't think it's worth it to add individual diamonds. It would have taken us 4 or 5 just to get that back to full health anyway. Might as well make another, hang on to this one, and we can add it back in before, that may get us back to full at this point for a enchantable helmet. So don't go there. We need 3 picks. Yeah, it's been so long since we've even thought about our wider tools. I think we're going to need at least one more axe. We didn't have any left over there. Let's combine our couple shovels here. Maybe leave those as is. I don't think we're going to need the iron sword. I know we're not going to need the iron or the sticks. Why have squid suddenly become so prominent in the volume category? Don't know. Okay, since we're not going for trees just yet, let's put that away. Alright, we got a shovel. Why do we go so slow right there? I was supposed to be running. Whatever. Alright, so now back to our grind. Back to the regularly scheduled project we've been working on. For anyone new, this used to be a substantial hill, and we've been kind of using creepers to help us with the dirt. They're not as good on the stone, so we just kind of grind away at it. But we've only got a couple levels left. We want to get down to this level where we've kind of stashed away our animals to keep them safe, and are going to set up our farms and our breeding, all the agricultural stuff. We'll have bees eventually and all that good stuff to make our farm as productive as possible. And look at that, the sun's going down just in time to maybe have a little bit more creeper help. gets very limited in their efficiency now, but anything we don't have to dig is nice. So we'll just keep banging away at the stone until we get overrun a bit. And I think we'll just do this for the ease of access. Get rid of that 2-block high wall. That's still nothing. Just keep plugging away at these guys. Eventually we'll have some helpers and some distractors, I'm sure. Alright, we seem to be getting to pretty full night, and it's a nice new moon up there, or no moon. Nobody yet. It's the one I always struggle with. Is it full moons that give us more mob spawns or full moons? And from all the okay, here we go. Again, for folks that may not know, our sword here has Smite 3 on it, so it's pretty effective. But it's our creepers that we want to actually call attention to, and bring into the perimeter. So he takes out a pretty good chunk of some of that dirt we would otherwise have to dig. So that's all we're kind of working out here. And we just want to keep our eyes open. Let's use this quiet time to switch out. I do think we're maybe in a low mob cycling night. And I don't know how long it's been since we've slept, so we may get some first phantom visits as well. And I don't know, does anybody know offhand, are phantoms undead or are they living mobs? The name would seem to imply they are among the undead. Ooh. Ooh, more of them. Come on. Shield took a bit more of that one than I'd planned on. Yeah, as it gets a little more hole filled, it's a little bit challenging, but that's getting us down to kind of done level. And we can kind of extend out into here a little bit now. Inventory is pretty good. They're dinging our armor a bit more than I'd care for, but it's all part of the creeper games, right? Get that copper. Only way it really can go bad is if we don't pay attention and let them sneak up on. Oh, there's some creepers. Let's finish out this row. Keep our head active. think we've got him coming. There's one. Two. More around here. Some seeds. Those will come in handy. There's a zombie. It's good to be back out smelling the fresh night air. Creeper there, creeper there. They're fairly distant. I'd like something a little closer if we can get it. Enderman. He could make a mess of stuff. Anybody up high over here? Anybody coming up behind us? Nothing yet. So I think full moons definitely get you more spawned mobs. That's what seems to be unfolding here. Anybody back behind us? Ooh, there's some. So we'll finish up this row and then go after those two creepers. See if we can pull them up to this area. But looks like we may have a bit of a horde here. Alright, creepers. Whole flocks of you. Just check behind a little bit here before we find ourselves in real trouble. Okay. One over that way amid the spiders. This one's a little trouble just because there's water around. Let's try to get him coming this way. Sun's coming up. It always seems to come too quick when we're looking for the creepers. Do another run here. We usually get one more good batch kind of right at the last bit. The game seems to try to take advantage of that last opportunity to spawn stuff sometimes. Nobody hiding down in the corner down there. Alright, if that creeper doesn't despawn, maybe we can get him over. Don't want to have... Alright, there you go. Come here, buddy. Let's put you right in the middle of this one, if we can. Nice. Alright, well, that was a pretty good conclusion. So, now let's try to finish up this layer of stone. So, in the spirit of the little Minecraft splash screen here, what's everybody been reading? You guys book fans? Anybody got a novel or something a little thicker, chewier to on their nightstand reading, or maybe you read on a phone or a Kindle or something like that? It's summertime, so I know anybody that's kind of students may be taking a well-deserved break if you've been doing a lot of reading, if you're, studying uh, secondary degree type stuff, or maybe you're just looking forward to graduation and enjoying that summer. But I know, for a lot of us who are past school days, summer's a nice time to kind of relax. Sometimes you can be outside, bring a book with you, just if you're by a beach, chill out there. For me, that's always umbrella territory. I'm not a big fan of soaking up the rays. I get a little crispy. So if I do go to the beach, I'm a big fan of, usually at that point, I use the little Kindle app thing on my phone. Uh, Most of the, unless I'm going to be doing a lot of reading or something, then I might take the full Kindle along. But usually, I just scroll on the phone, especially if I find myself unexpectedly in a line or something. That doesn't really fit with the whole um, uh, beach analogy or summertime reading, but it's still handy to have. You've always got your phone on you, right? And so if you find yourself waiting in the long grocery line or at the DMV or something like that, that isn't usually a surprise. You're going to have a line if you're at the DMV, but for anybody who's not U.S. based or has something different, DMV is our Department of Motor Vehicles, where you have to go to get your driver's license, also plates and yearly renewals and stuff like that. A lot of that is automated. A lot of it you can do online now, but every once in a while you got to go in person, and that can be painful. Or, like doctor's office. If you're going for a physical, the dentist or something like that, you always have that waiting room time. And I particularly, you go to the doctor, right? You got your physical coming up, want to make sure you're healthy, nothing that needs attention, and you go to get checked out. You got your appointment time. You show up a couple of minutes early, and it's they're never gonna put you right in. Oh, hey, we've been waiting for you. Come on in. We're just chomping at the bit to see you. No, you gotta expect you're gonna wait there. But I definitely like to read while I'm in those kind of situations. But the doctor is so much better because everybody knows this, right? You go for your physical and you sit in a waiting room where they got magazines and everything, and you're all good. And then they go, "All right, we'll see you now." And the little I don't know if it's even an RN or just a PA or something like that. They take your vitals, get your blood pressure and your weight, and your temperature, and all that. Check your height. And then take you back to the little room where they're going to do the actual physical. And they're like, all right, yeah, go ahead and get comfy in your undies, and we'll be with you shortly. And then there you are sitting there, twiddling your thumbs, and like, okay, now you have a longer wait sometimes than the first appointment. It's like, what are we doing here? But that's the best time because, if you do pick up, first of all, magazines in doctor's offices and stuff like that, it's kind of my mom, taking us to like the pediatrician when we were little kids, and it's like, I remember at my pediatrician, I think they probably still do this, but it's like they would split up the waiting room. They'd have the feeling well, feeling sick part, and very cool. And this was back 80s type time frame. If you're not sick, if you're just here for a physical, you don't want to be hanging out with all the people who think they have the flu or strep or something like that. No, we're going to put you over, give you a separate place to chill. And that's very welcome. but even there, it's like, do you really want to touch all the magazines and stuff that some little sick, not feeling good kid that's bored and restless anyway, running their hands all over? Now, nice to have a phone, man. It's just your germs. Um, so yeah, I've always liked that particularly, because then you don't, like, say you do read the magazine or whatever, you just, find something. Well, then you move, and now you're in a smaller room, usually with no windows or anything like that. And at best, they have like one magazine in there. So you look at the posters on the wall that tell you some totally irrelevant medical stuff, and then wonder what you're gonna do. So I love it. Just pull up a book on the phone. And nowadays, I mean, I'm sure you can pull up a Hambbage video. That's probably a good way to spend your time too. But especially if you got somebody with you, a spouse, or you've got a kid that you're taking, or you're with your folks or something like that. Whatever the case may be, sometimes it's not exactly easy to just throw in headphones and pretend like that person isn't there. They're spending time waiting with you. So I guess reading a book at that point isn't the most, but you can kind of glance at it when, like, what are we going to talk about now? I don't know. Flip through the pages of the book and tell them what you're reading. Good conversation starter. So I'm currently still working on a couple books that I have been for a long time. They're both very substantial. And one I've been working on probably for the better part of a year. And that's the collected writings of John Muir, whose name some people may be familiar with for Muir Woods out in California. He was an early naturalist and conservation advocate way back at the turn of the century, or before, and the turn of the last century. So born sometime in the 1800s, and was actually an immigrant from Scotland and came to the United States with his family, and was basically a farm homesteader kind of guy, and or kid, child of. And for me, it's very interesting, because if any of you guys were familiar with the Laura Ingalls Wilder books when you were kids, or the the TV series with Michael Landon and Melissa Gilbert. Yeah, I know those names. Names from my childhood? Okay. All long done, I think, now. But he kind of lived the same life as Laura Ingalls Wilder described in her first book, Little House in the Big Woods. Similar environment. I know from having an older sister and having been dragged around to various Laura Ingalls Wilder sites in my childhood, I know their farm and cabin and all that was near to Lake Pepin, which is on the western edge of Wisconsin. I'm not sure. I keep meaning to look. I'm not sure where the Muir farmstead was. It's they describe a village as having been Portage near them, and I don't know what that equates to or what that's close to or anything. But oh, we already swapped that. Okay, we haven't used up too many picks. Drop that. Drop that. Drop these. We'll be back at nightfall, I think, because now we're getting a bit low on dirt for creepers. Any dirt that the creepers are taking, we're eventually going to have to just start filling back in. Kind of forgot about my dirt box over here, too. Should use that while we're out here. Get the 50 pieces. Okay. So, stone, I guess. Back at that. Might as well try to use up some of these picks while the daylight lasts, and then we can go in and repair them. You just cut a straight line back through here. minimal danger here. If you're not watching too close, you could expose a cave below your feet. Get dropped. We're not. Why am I not jumping when I try to jump? Huh. Life's little mysteries. So I hope those of you guys that have been coming around for a long time, the regular crew as you may be, and welcome to anyone who's just joining that crew. What'd you guys think of the short little video effort? Was that recommendations? Feel free to laugh at the thumbnail and opening graphic that I used. As I said, I've been making very slow progress on um, learning to improve thumbnails a little bit just from the shots that I make. I'm not there yet. That was frustrating, and as you guys can tell, very basic. But I'm hoping we can build on that a little bit. I've still got just some technique stuff I know I can be doing better, but I don't yet know how to do better. So would like to get to that point before I really start putting time into thumbnails. Specifically, I'd like to be able to drop in episodes into a thumbnail template where the image can continue to change as we do when we remember to take our own snapshots, which by the way we should remember to take one before we wrap this episode up. But have the same whatever graphic text, and I don't have a logo or anything else. I don't even have a skin. Those things all to be developed as well. But for starters, let's try to get some text up there, kind of a title of the hardcore vanilla let's play kind of stuff, whatever we're going to put up there, and then so we can tick off the episode numbers so you guys know it's the VBC or Vanilla Brewed Coffee World, whatever we end up doing there, and episode number, so you know which one's coming next or where it is in the order. Certainly that's in the title, but kind of nice to have that information right there in the thumbnail. If it pops up for people who aren't familiar with the channel, they can see at a glance without having to look down what that might be. So all the stuff I'm still very slowly working on. RL update yesterday, I was just miserable. Allergies and that we had quite a bit of smoke in the air. I'm in Colorado, and some of the northwestern U.S. and Canada wildfires were throwing a lot of smoke our way over the beginning part of this week. And today it's much cooler and overcast, and while that doesn't necessarily mean there isn't smoke, just the humidity and everything seems to make everything feel quite a bit better. And I think coupled with that, a little bit better sleep helped a little bit, and I'm not on any kind of allergy or decongestant type medicine or anything like that. So hopefully we're back to good. I'm just still trying to catch up on sleep a little bit and feel back to full speed ahead. But again, Minecraft comes through huge. When you're not feeling tip top, it is so nice to just be able to kind of lose yourself in this world and share the content with other people. So hope that that resonates with all of you guys, and hope you're enjoying the progress in the world. Hopefully we'll get to the point shortly where we're making quicker progress. We're not just relying on this iron stuff and all that. The enchanting is we already know, Slow Cooker World shows us as soon as we have that enchanting and that ability to turn things around, we're going to be so much better off. And of course, coupled with that um, is having the villager trades. That's what I'm trying to come up with. So all that means more work, though, right? And we're just trying to kind of make our progress as we go along. I do think the fortune the fortune of finding the double spawner there is really going to help us in terms of enchanting. In fact, even though we're talking about putting enchanting up at that upper layer of windows, or even the one up above it, I think we may, at least for starters, rethink that and set up our first bookshelves and enchanting table and everything down at that spawner, because that's going to be the first place where we have lots of XP and can roll the books and everything and just kind of keep grinding a little bit. It's not perfect, certainly, because it doesn't have the continuous spawning that the darkroom spawner does. With a darkroom spawner, it doesn't quite produce mobs as quickly. They basically have to wander their way to get down to you. There's a bunch up in the darkroom complex, but they're gonna meander their way to the water shafts that take them to the drop chute to get down to where you can harvest them. So that part is less efficient. The more efficient part is that you can be standing there doing your enchantments and getting more mobs to harvest the next time around. So it's a trade-off. We've seen, you guys spent enough time with me standing there and dancing around at the slow cooker darkroom spawner that you understand it's not ideal when you're doing a let's play where you're not just AFKing. Both of them are frustrating, and I think in that sense, if we can set up the blast furnaces to be running in the background and do any other stuff up there where both the zombie and the skeleton spawners are running while we're there, that would be a big help. Just to make it so it's not quite as tedious to just be sitting there waiting for stuff. Let's come back along this side just to mix it up a little bit. Nothing like breaking some more rocks, huh? It is Minecraft after all, though. You have to understand this is what we signed up for. And in hardcore, we go ahead and break those rocks. So yeah, it was back to the books. I was mentioning the writings of John Muir, and that's not light page turner type stuff. It's cool, very cool, and he kind of follows a literary, and I don't want to sound all blah, 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 but he kind of follows an intellectual legacy from some of the it's easy to call them transcendentalist thinkers of the New England area, and they would have been the kind of cutting edge new voices in the world when John Muir was a young kid getting educated, growing up, starting to read and have as you age up a little bit, you get a bigger view of the world. You start to understand what the voices are out there and what ways people are being guided to think about things, what ideas evolve in the light of current events, and uh, shape how we view the future. And we're all living in a time where that's happening before our eyes, right? From in my lifetime growing up, where computers were a known but very remote thing. Computer uh, when I was very young was uh, something a business had or a university or something. And even before I really got a comprehension of that, my schools, grade school, young kid, elementary type schools, depending on what you call them where you live, had a couple of computer labs, and it started with carts where the computer would come to your classroom, and it very basic, had like a single monitor. At first, I think they were all green, and then green on black text, and then evolved to three color. You could switch. They could have yellow or um, I think is it reddish was the other one. I don't know. But I remember the first computer that had this desktop environment. That was a big deal. And that was Windows. Windows came along, and the Windows you don't. It becomes so commonplace now you don't even think about it. But Microsoft Windows, the reason they called it Windows was because you had this graphical environment of a desktop, and what had been command launched executable type stuff now just all appeared. You could put those out there where you could find them and use these mice to select them just without having to type. At first it was all arrows and commands and menus and things to open up the cool stuff that kind of hid deep down in the computer. You had to know your way around to find those secrets, but that quickly changed. And when I'm sure it's still that way to an extent, at very young age, but some of the first things we had to learn were mice and arrows, and some of the early games in those school classrooms were arrowing around it, and kind of the snake game, more basic. That idea of moving something around the screen by controlling it either with the mouse or with arrows and commands and things like that. So really cool how far it's gone. But yeah, the idea of Windows. I remember I think it was my first PC when I was probably in college age. Um, it still had, I think it was a Packard Bell. It wasn't HP. I think it was a Packard Bell, maybe. I don't know. Um, Computer. Oh, we got more pillagers. Goody. Um, and hit its default environment. I think it was running Windows, but its default like manufacturer thing, and they were still, at that time it was still like, oh yeah, you may not want to use this Windows thing. Why don't you try our desktop instead? And it was so clunky, it was awful. It was like this. They basically built you a little like house. I don't know if I like stumbled into the. I think it was just general adaptation for people, making them understand what computers were and what they could be. So many people weren't even to the level I was at. Um, I was by the time I got my own computer, I'd already been using computers in college and stuff like that. And I was taking classes about basic web design using Netscape. I don't know what the web creator tool was, but some of that I was learning the back end of all that kind of stuff at a basic level. Uh, But yeah, then you get a PC, and it's like all of your programs can live on the bookshelf, and it's this whole idea of files and folders and things like that. But they were trying to make that less threatening by putting it in this real world environment. It was super clunky and awful. As soon as I could figure out how to get rid of that bloatware, I did. But very comical. Here's this idea like, oh yeah, people may not be able to grasp the idea of a Windows desktop, and how do we make that accessible? So pretty cool memories. Now I don't know how long we've been going. I've just kind of been in the zone here. Plugging away, but I'm excited to be almost at the fill layer. No, not fills. The fill in when we take out stone, and at that point we can kind of start working along our eventual planned fields and stuff. Start laying out rows and filling with stone where we want some stuff. Unfortunately, this little lake is going to have to go. Much like the Dutch, we're going to reclaim this land. Oh yeah, as is the case when you start taking down hills, when you get to the bottom, they spread out quite a bit. Got a lot more work to do. What I really don't know, what's going to start to become clear as we lay this stuff out. For those of you guys who do remember the slow cooker field, I don't think we have enough width here really to get everything in place. And what is that gonna do for us? There we go. But let's take a quick look. Not quite to an hour yet, so we're doing better than I thought. Let me get a sip of water here. And thanks so much, any of you guys that are hanging out for the tedium. I still never finished. I got talking about computers and never finished talking about the books. So the other book that I've actively been reading, kind of as my fall asleep at night book, is Stephen King's The Stand again. Third or fourth time reading through that, and one of my favorites. I'm not super huge into horror, like suspense more than horror. It would kind of be in terms of movies what I go for, but that doesn't mean I don't really enjoy some of Stephen King's stuff. He is truly, for what's easily dismissible as just pulp type writing, he is just an excellent writer. For as much as you create, some of that stuff gets a little formulaic. You got to use what works. He knows what works. It's like a streamer, right? You're not reinventing yourself every day. You're kind of going back to the well every day to provide what people expect in your environment. So yeah, I don't expect to have my worldview change or anything. I expect to be entertained, but I think when it's just entertainment type fiction like that, one of the greatest things that can be said for it is when you have a book that you want to go back to again and again because the imagery resonates and the characters give you something compelling, and you kind of know, obviously after the first reading you know how things are going to end up, but there's still so many little gems in the descriptions, and when you come into it knowing how these characters are going to play out, you find the depth is already there. There's and that's kind of the difference in the formulaic and King's type writing is, he's not exactly hiding some of the stuff. You may not know it fully at the beginning, but it's there, and he, much like Martin, Game of Thrones, he doesn't shy away from making his good characters have unlikable traits, and his bad characters have stuff that you're like, well, that's not, they're not. It's not a spectrum, right? That's again more depth um, than what a lot of other very successful writers give. Is that you can have characters that are ultimately good or evil struggling with how they'll end up within the book, and how he chooses to present that to the audience is part of the art. Okay, I think that gives us a good limit, and then this will be our next little bit, and then from here we're just digging out rocks, just like real farmers. You got to dig out the rocks and get them out of there before you can plant crops. But as we do that, we'll kind of want to lay out where we go, and I think this is a good area where we can fill, maybe on this row, run our dirt out. And it won't want to be dirt necessarily on the edge. We'll want to dress up those fields a little bit, but run out some of this area so we can maximize the number of fields we can get in. And then maybe all that fits. We'll see how we come out. But yeah, for good or bad, there's a lot more stone. We're going to have to get out all of this stuff too. And I don't think in this world we're going to. Obviously, we have sand, but we're not going to mess around with sandstone as much. We did that. Still, potentially could revisit all that in slow cooker, but I think we kind of use that one pretty thoroughly. So maybe try for other stuff. I would gladly jump in on deep slate and some of the modifications there, but it's so frustrating to harvest early. What we may do is use just regular stone or stone brick for the ground, where we'll take up most of it, but then like for our elevated torches and all that kind of stuff, maybe use deep slate there as an accent, kind of mix it up, just so we're not constantly. The worst thing would be we've used up all the stuff we've generated naturally, and now we just have to go to get more deep slate. I don't want to have to do those multiple hits kind of stuff to gather that up. Now, if we're really smart, we'll leave that coal and hit it with our fortune pick. Let's just cut a path back, race the sun. And then I think when we get back inside, we'll clean up the inventory, call it a break, probably a little over an hour now, and call that a good episode. Again, not the top level excitement. I tried to play with the creepers a little bit just to mix it up, but this is important work we've got to get through to really take the next step in the world. So if it's not exactly your thing, understand. I know it can get old a little bit, but try to have patience with us. Check back in a video or so. We'll be on to the next things. It sounds like a trader, no, pillager. Darn it. Seeds. Again, I got a couple rows of those. Our carrots and potatoes and melons and all that good stuff all can come. And the good news is we got a lot of bones to be able to bone meal those early crops and get them ready to go. So we did have this ready to go. Switch it, switch there. Our shovels that we made are seemingly going to get us through most of this project. So I maintain that was a good use of a few diamonds. All right, let's eat and sleep, and then we'll be ready to start fresh in our next episode with hopefully some real progress on the farms. So, as always, let's get that out of the way. Let's get you guys a thank you. I definitely mean it when I say thank you so much for all the visits. Enjoy you guys coming by. Hope you're enjoying the content as we go. Let me know what you thought about the quickie little video and any recommendations for future stuff there. Very first attempt, and we'll see if we can't grow on our progress there. You got to start somewhere, though, right? Don't be afraid to look a little bit amateurish just to get something under your belt. Get it out there. Then the next one will look so much better if you can improve on it. So that's the goal, and we'll hopefully have some more of those along the way if we've got something cool to show. Maybe we'll do the farms or something like that once we get everything set up. So you guys take care and have a good break. I hope that there will be more videos awaiting you guys when you're done with this one. But regardless, if you're watching a whole bunch in a row or just one at a time, get outside, get your eyes and your brain a little break from the screen time and move those extremities a little bit, let the blood flow through. Take care of yourselves and somebody else around you. Give them a smile and a hand if they need it on something they're working on. And take care of yourselves. Stay awesome. We'll see you back here for the next one. I'm Hambbage, and this is Hardcore Vanilla Minecraft. Bye now.